Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So the parsha this week is Ve'et Hanan, and it begins with Moshe telling the people, or explaining to the people, or maybe telling us, that sometime between when God told him he wouldn't be allowed to go into the land and the time where he's talking now, sometime in between, he says at that time, we don't know exactly when that time is, and the rabbis have all kinds of debates about it, but he says, Ve'et Hanan, I asked for God's grace. I asked God to allow me to go into the land. And Ve'et Hanan is a very specific kind of request. It's a plea. It's different than a prayer, and it's different than a request. It's its own, it's a plea for mercy, a plea for grace. And earlier in the Torah, in Exodus, there's a verse where God says, V'chonanti, I will be gracious to those who are gracious. And so Moshe is sort of appealing by saying, Ve'et Hanan, I asked for grace. He's appealing to this promise of God's from Exodus, this promise of grace. And Moshe tells us, God said no. Pretty direct no, not even a nice no. God actually says, enough. Don't talk to me about this anymore. Which doesn't feel like grace. But then God says to Moses, God uses the words, Rav Lecha, which we can understand a lot of different ways. But one, the most literal way, Rav means a lot, much. And Lecha, to you. Rav Lach. You have so much. You have so much, Rav Lach. And Rabbi Shefa Gold says, God says, Rav Lach, you have so much. Stop fixating on your idea of what you want. Rav Lach. And then God sends Moses up on Mount Pisgah to look out over the land. And in our shiur on Thursday, we debated, was this cruel? Was this God saying, go look at what you aren't going to be able to do? Or was this the act of grace? God saying to Moses, you can't go, but you can see. You can go up and you can look out and you can see how much you've done. You can see your life's work. You can see that you brought the Israelites all the way to the edge of the land. They made it. They're going to go through. And you can see the land and how good it is. Ravlach, you have so much. And it's a question of perspective, really. The Moshe starts out saying, it's not enough. I need to go into the land. I need to see it through. Please. Ve'et Hanan, I'm asking for grace. I'm pleading. Please. Let me finish what I started. And God says, actually, Ravlach, you've done enough. You have so much. Somebody else is going to finish it. And there's an invitation for us, always, in this dialogue between Moshe and God. This invitation to pause when we catch ourselves pleading for more. When we feel like we haven't gotten enough, or there's just that one last thing we want to do, or we want the thing that somebody else has, or we want something that we feel like we were promised, but it starts to be clear we're not going to get it. And we plead with God, just let me have that thing. And we have to catch ourselves and say, wait, what happens if we step back, if we go up and look out, if we change our perspective? Can we look at our life and say, Ravlach, you have so much, you have enough. Ravlach. Nachamu, nachamu ami. The prophet says, take comfort, my people. You have enough. Ravlach, you have so much. You can be comforted. You don't need more. Let that thing go, whatever it is. Turn your phone off. It's a pretty ringtone, at least. So breathe into that. This Shabbat, we're going into the new year. We're starting the ascent. We went down, down, down into Tisha B'Av, and we went to Pinelands, and we sat on the floor. If you missed it, come next year. We hit a low place, and now we're climbing out towards the new year. And we can go into the new year thinking of all the things we want and hope for and need and don't have, and maybe next year, or we can go into the new year saying, Ravlach, I have so much. It's going to be a great year. I already have everything I need. Ravlach. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Even when we tell ourselves we have everything we need, we know that some people are in need of healing, and not everyone all the time has everything they need. And so we still pray, and we still ask for healing. On page 371, and if you have a name to share, body, mind, or spirit, someone in need of healing, please, when I look your way, you can share names, and if you're online and you want to share names there, you can share names there. And if Noah brings them, we'll share them out loud also. But so while the music plays softly, we'll share names for healing. May the source of strength, who bless